A new dawn breaks, casting a blinding light over the silent, opulent chamber. The day of destiny has finally arrived. Congratulations! The room erupts in a chorus of cheers. The staff has gone all out, preparing a feast of all his favorite dishes to celebrate the big day. A shy, heart-fluttering smile spreads across his face. This unexpected display of affection is enough to melt anyone's heart. Isaac von Goethe, just 10 years old and already the talk of the town. A servant steps forward with a gift, his hands trembling slightly as he offers a token of gratitude to the young master. The man bows low, explaining that when his own son was deathly ill, it was Isaac's medicine that saved his life. Isaac accepts the gift with a warm, humble smile, showing he's a noble with an actual soul for once. Suddenly, the doors burst open. It's his brother, Jonas, rushing in with pure excitement. Jonas declares he's going to play a celebratory song to mark the occasion. Jonas is a musical prodigy, and even the stuffy court musicians can't help but gush over his incredible talent. Isaac nods, eager to hear what his brother has prepared. It's showtime. With a gentle strum, he weaves pure magic into the air. The melody flows, capturing hearts with every delicate note. Suddenly, the music turns into a scream. Jonas! No, Jonas! A chilling nightmare jolts him awake in a cold sweat. The silence is shattered as he snaps to consciousness, eyes wide with pure terror. A dream? He whispers, his heart still hammering against his ribs. He scoffs, calling himself a fool for letting the past haunt him. He knows there is no turning back to those innocent days now. Heavy boots hit the floor with a resounding thud. The arrival is here, and there's no turning back now. The heavy door slides open with a haunting creak. Tension spikes as the unknown finally reveals itself. Food is served, though it looks more like a peace offering than a snack. The figure asks if he had a nightmare, noting that he looks pale. Isaac admits it was a dream from 20 years ago. Talk about a long-term memory. 20 years back when he was just a boy. The figure dismisses the past, telling him to stop dwelling on such stale, dusty memories. How about some fresh cheese instead? A classic way to distract a man from his trauma. Once he's done eating, the training begins. No slacking off allowed, even if you're a former prodigy. Isaac reflects on that fateful time 20 years ago. Just a month before entering the academy, he fell into a terrifying 3-month-long flu. His father, the Count, was so desperate he even brought in a scholar from the magic tower to intervene.
À unique constitution?
That's fancy talk for you're a walking ticking time bomb. Every living being has a mana vessel, and mana flows through it at its own natural speed. But Isaac, his mana circulation is impossibly fast and fierce. It was only a matter of time before his own body couldn't handle the pressure. The vessel was cracking, and the truth they tried to ignore was finally coming to light. The mana erupted like a burst dam, colliding violently with the external air. It triggered a massive, uncontrollable mana explosion. A sudden, devastating magical blast rips through the room, sending the target flying. Chaos erupts as the shockwave obliterates everything in its path. It wouldn't stop. It just kept erupting, leaving everyone in the mansion in a state of absolute terror. You can tell things are getting serious when the house starts blowing up. He begged them to lock him away, far from anyone he could hurt. The world crumbles around him as a single, devastating tear marks the end of his innocence. Heartbreak strikes, and there's no turning back from this crushing despair. He needed a place where no one could reach him, a place where his own power wouldn't claim more victims. Trapped in the suffocating darkness, he marks the agonizing passage of time one scratch at a time. His sanity is hanging by a thread in this lonely prison of despair. Was he only 15 back then? Feels like a lifetime ago. A sudden, violent cough racks his body. Lucas? Someone calls out, worried. Crimson blood stains his hand as the intensity of the moment reaches a breaking point. He is pushed to the absolute edge. Coughing up blood is a classic symptom of mana poisoning, the price of lingering too close to his unstable core. He tells his companion to back off. He needs at least a month of rest to recover. Lucas just laughs, asking who else would serve the young master if he left. He doesn't hold back, reminding Isaac that he doesn't have any other friends anyway. Ouch. Isaac threatens to kick him out for the insult, but there's no real heat behind it. Lucas isn't worried. He knows exactly who he's dealing with. Even after dozens of mana-fueled explosions, Lucas hasn't lost a single hair on his head. Talk about job security. He claims you won't find anyone else like him. One wrong move and everything is gone. Isaac tells him to get lost. It's time to meditate and he doesn't want any interruptions. Lucas agrees, though he's clearly been through a lot over the years. It has been a pleasure, he muses, looking back on their time together. The memory of that congratulations echoes once more, a stark contrast to his current life. Even the best recaps have to deal with these pesky watermarks, but we're pushing through. Kaimak! A sudden cry breaks the air. Hans's neck is in trouble. Ah, you've finally arrived. A voice notes with chilling calm. Shock gives way to sheer horror as he turns to find a bloody tragedy unfolding right behind him. The brutal truth leaves him absolutely shattered. A chilling gaze freezes the air as he locks onto his next target. Nothing escapes those piercing eyes. Welcome back, Lucas. The voice whispers. A gruesome banquet of blood and carnage stares him down. The feast has turned into a nightmare. It's been a while, but the trauma is as fresh as ever. He gasps, his lungs burning with the weight of the scene. A chilling realization freezes their blood as pure terror takes hold. Their eyes widen in shock. What nightmare have they just witnessed? Lucas died coughing up blood. That was the last time he ever saw him. He didn't visit for over a year. He only heard about his passing through his father's reports. Another mana explosion happened that day, and he locked his door, hiding from the world. The memories are a jumbled, painful mess of regret and static. He realizes now that he should have kept his distance from the start. The numbers of the past don't add up to a happy ending. A heartwarming scene of pure bliss illuminates the past as a loving family reunites. This golden memory captures the fleeting peace before everything changes. And so, a few more years slipped away into the void. Yet, against all odds, he is still alive. He has to look forward. The only way out is through, no matter how painful the path gets. The young man has long since entered middle age. His appearance, however, is already that of a weathered old man. During the 30 years he spent underground, he devoted himself to mastering magic, trying to overcome his cursed constitution. Books couldn't help him anymore. All that remained were raw intuition and divine inspiration. Oh, you who begin the journey. The universe seems to whisper. You are solitary, lonely, and burdened by power. Can you stand alone before the face of infinity, in a world where only mana and you exist? It's a question only he can answer. Has a problem occurred within the family? He's tired of eating research materials, he just wants a break. The numbers keep ticking, but the goal remains the same. Something is coming, and it isn't going to be pleasant. 71 years old. He's lived long enough to see the world burn. A heavy boot hits the ground with a thunderous thud, signaling a chilling arrival. The stage is set for a confrontation that will shake everything to its core. Brother, it is me, Jonas. Is he sleeping, or is he just waiting for the end? Jonas appears, but how? What could possibly bring him here after all this time? May I come in? Jonas asks, sounding like a ghost from a past life. Speak from where you are, he replies, keeping his guard up. How has he been? The story is far too long to summarize in a sentence. Jonas reminds him, today is the anniversary of their father's death. How did their father pass away? It's a question that still carries a heavy sting. It's a long, tragic story, but if he's ready to hear it, Jonas will tell it. It all starts 30 years ago. First, there was the war of succession between the first and second princes. Blood was spilled, and the kingdom began its slow descent into ruin. A piercing, icy gaze cuts through the shadows, revealing a hidden, dangerous power. This old master is clearly up to no good. A moment of quiet reflection as they sit back to back, lost in their own shared world. The tension fades, replaced by a rare, peaceful connection. I must admit one thing, he says. You have a talent as a storyteller. Jonas laughs. If he'd known, he might have just wandered the world as a poet. A bit difficult to be a writer when you can't use one hand, though. A dark, sad joke. I am sorry, he whispers, the weight of his brother's suffering finally hitting home. The tension is palpable as his knuckles turn white from the crushing grip. Something massive is about to snap. Both father and mother and even me. They resented him, but they also loved him despite the distance. It's a complicated legacy to leave behind. The weight of the past looms large as the old man's shadow merges with the youth. A haunting reflection reveals the destiny tethering them together. Truly, we loved you very much, Jonas admits, baring his soul. He just wanted to see his brother's face one last time. The end was coming, and the war was raging all around them. Then the gate opened. Monsters from another world poured in, and the radical faction of the new religion took full advantage of the chaos. Jonas, are you all right? Now, at least you can spend the rest of your life in peace, Jonas says, his voice fading. Ah, if only he had arrived a little sooner. A chilling pool of blood drips from the shadows, marking the scene of a gruesome discovery. The silence is shattered as a foot steps into the frame, signaling that the nightmare has only just begun. The silence is deafening. The light fades from his eyes as he takes his final breath. A cold, silent end marks the brutal conclusion of his journey. The old master grits his teeth, his expression twisted in pure, unadulterated fury. A storm of rage is brewing, and someone is about to pay the ultimate price. To think he managed to tell that entire long story before the end. Let us go, he says, his voice cold and resolute. He can't just lie here forever. Can he? The heavy thud of boots echoes through the darkness as the hunter finally makes their move. In the shadows of the staircase, a desperate embrace captures a moment of raw, hidden vulnerability. They cling to each other, finding solace before the darkness swallows them whole. No. Why? Why is he so light? How much has he been starving himself? Darkness swallows the scene as a sudden, ominous silence takes hold. The stage is set for a chilling turn of events. The heavy doors swing wide, revealing a blinding gateway to the unknown. He steps into the light, ready to face whatever destiny awaits. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. With a sudden, sharp strike, the mysterious figure lands on the ground. The tension spikes as the hunt begins. A tale of blood, magic, and regret. It is snowing, Jonas. The ground is frozen solid. He can't bury him yet. He'll wait until spring to put his brother to rest in the family cemetery. And then he thinks maybe he will finally find his own rest, too. The gnarled branches stretch toward a desolate sky, signaling that the calm before the storm has officially ended. A chilling silence hangs in the air, but darkness is already closing in. A mysterious white butterfly dances through the air, signaling the start of a new, fateful encounter. A lone figure stands before a fresh grave, haunted by the crushing weight of loss. The silent headstones bear witness to a tragic past that can never be undone. The ultimate power is finally within his grasp. A legendary artifact rests in his palm, ready to shatter the status quo. He stands tall, the weight of his destiny finally crystallizing into a singular, unwavering resolve. He cries out to Jonas, his voice trembling with the urgency of a man who has seen too much. Finally, he has reached the summit of his ambition. The breakthrough he spent a lifetime chasing is finally here. After years of grueling research, he has finally conquered his unique constitution. Can he finally rest now? He looks like he needs a nap that lasts about 10 years. He questions his own fate. Will he emerge victorious in this new cycle? A desperate plea escapes his lips, wondering if he can truly be forgiven for the path he has walked. Regret washes over him like a tidal wave. If only he hadn't wasted so much time drowning in the abyss of his own despair. The grand fortress lies in ruins, a hollow shell of its former glory. Destruction reigns supreme over the shattered stone. The old master lies in his final moments, his life fading away into the light. A silent, heartbreaking end to a legendary journey. The legendary warrior finally breathes his last as the light fades from his eyes. An era comes to a crushing, silent end. A wave of exhaustion washes over him as the light fades. He's pushed to his absolute breaking point. The curtains are ripped open in a flash, exposing the truth to those piercing eyes. Tension explodes as the light floods into the room. A sudden, blinding flash erupts. The power is unleashed. He bolts upright, heart racing as a vivid nightmare leaves him gasping for air. What chilling secret did he see in his sleep? He stares in shock, noting that his companion is sweating profusely and looking pale as a ghost. He asks with genuine concern if his master had a restless night. He questions reality itself. Is this a dream, or is he watching his own life flash before his eyes as death approaches? He calls out to the young master, his voice laced with genuine worry. He warns the young master that the current situation is far too dangerous to handle alone. He snaps back, declaring that he is perfectly fine, despite the obvious chaos unfolding. A sharp cry rings out, piercing the tension of the room. He catches sight of his brother, and the realization hits him like a freight train. He calls out to Jonas, his voice echoing through the chambers. He tells him to come down immediately, but stumbles as he loses his footing in a comical display of clumsiness. Caught in a moment of pure vulnerability, he presses against the glass with a desperate, trembling gaze. What secret is he hiding behind that fragile smile? He confirms it with absolute certainty. This is no dream. He has returned to the past. He addresses the one who begins the journey, knowing full well the hardship ahead. He observes his own solitude, questioning if he has the strength to stand alone before the infinite void. He gazes into a desolate world where only mana and his own existence remain. He vows to discard the perspectives of his past life and break free from the leash that once held him back. The air crackles with raw power as his eyes ignite with an unstoppable, ethereal glow. A dormant force awakens, and the battlefield will never be the same. His piercing gaze cuts through the shadows, radiating an aura of absolute, cold-blooded intensity. The calm before the storm has arrived, and he's clearly ready to strike. The fragile peace shatters instantly as the porcelain vessel lies in ruins. A single, violent crash seals a fate that can never be mended. He bristles with indignation, wondering who exactly is bad-mouthing him. He's ready to go teach them a lesson right now. He tells Hans to let it go, showing a rare moment of restraint. He admits with a bitter smile that they aren't exactly wrong about his behavior. The tension spikes as he sheds his coat, revealing a cold, calculated stare. He's not here to play. The real fight begins now. He tells his companion to stop visiting him, fearing that his proximity only brings pain and danger. A cold, piercing gaze locks onto the target. The tension is suffocating as he makes his move. He adamantly denies that his presence is a burden, refusing to leave the young master's side. Desperation takes hold as he drops to his knees, begging for a glimmer of understanding. The heavy silence is shattered by this raw, emotional plea. He insists that he still cares deeply, telling the young master that this is just a difficult phase that will soon pass. He tries to comfort him, claiming that everything will be fine once this ordeal is over. He asks rhetorically if that isn't just the inherent nature of life itself. Like that, the cycle of pain continues, repeating itself endlessly. He recalls the tragic death of someone he cared about, caused by his own uncontrollable mana explosion. He laments the fate of those who were foolish enough to care for him. He declares with agonizing clarity that he was the one who killed them all. Memories of his brother calling him to play flood his mind, forcing him to accept the harsh reality of his situation. He concludes that there is only one thing he must do to change his future. He calls out to Hans, his voice cold and distant. Hans responds immediately, waiting for his master's command. He coldly orders Hans to get lost, pushing away the only person left who truly cares. He screams for him to disappear from his sight immediately, driven by a desperate need for isolation. The air grows heavy with chilling silence as his eyes reveal nothing but pure, unadulterated intent. A dark awakening is upon us. Hans bows, understanding the gravity of the command, even if it breaks his heart. He convinces himself that this is the only right thing to do to protect those around him. A white-knuckled grip tightens, signaling a surge of pure, unbridled rage. Something is about to snap. The tension peaks as a single, decisive step echoes through the silence. Our protagonist has arrived, and the game is about to change. Hans begs him not to shoulder the entire world's burden alone, even as he retreats. The moment lingers in a surreal, hazy silence. He questions if he actually heard those words or if his subconscious simply manufactured them out of sheer loneliness. The weight of the world sits squarely on his shoulders, and he isn't sure if he can carry it. He winces, feeling a phantom pain that cuts deeper than any physical blade. He questions the nature of his own death. What was that, really? He decides that it doesn't matter if this is a dream or reality. The mission remains the same. He vows that a mana explosion must never happen again, no matter the cost. He reaches back into the archives of time, searching for a solution. He remembers Sieg von Goethe, the only other man to suffer from the same cursed constitution and reach impossible heights. He reflects on his great-great-grandfather, a man of legend who paved the way. He recalls his time underground, devouring the ancestral records his father left behind. He finally discovered the secret to overcoming the unique constitution that had plagued his bloodline. The mystery finally unravels as the protagonist confirms the legendary runestone's identity. The pieces of the puzzle are falling into place. He realizes that engraving a crest onto a mana stone creates a runestone, a tool of immense potential. His hands, once shaky with the tremors of old age, now move with the fluid grace of youth. It's definitely better to be young again. To prevent the deadly mana explosion, he must ensure his mana vessel can withstand the endless circulation of his power. The problem remains. His mana flows with such violent intensity that his vessel is constantly on the verge of shattering. Most people would perish instantly, but his body has the peculiar ability to restore itself as if nothing happened. Because of this, the cycle of destruction can repeat itself dozens of times. It's an absolute disaster. The runestone is the key. It intentionally damages the mana circuit to redirect the flow. By applying continuous shock to the damaged area, he forces the energy to adapt. He carves a new path for his mana, dispersing the shock and preventing a catastrophic explosion. It's a dangerous gamble with a low success rate, one he only barely mastered just before his previous death. A blinding inferno erupts, consuming everything in its path. The battlefield is engulfed in raw, unbridled power. That tiny, flickering spark was the ultimate proof that his theory was correct. He prepares to test it once more, ready to push his limits even further. A raw, pulsating flame ignites in the palm of his hand. The power is unleashed, and nothing will be left standing. Pure power erupts from his palm. A scorching pillar of flames spirals upward, leaving him stunned by his own raw potential. The results are more explosive than he could have ever imagined. He stares at the flames, wondering just how much firepower he has actually unlocked. Raw, volatile energy surges through his veins as he hits his breaking point. He's undergoing a terrifying, luminous evolution that threatens to tear him apart. A chilling realization hits as those around him watch in absolute terror. There's no escaping the raw force he's now wielding. An inferno of raw, destructive power erupts, consuming everything in its path. Chaos reigns as the flames roar to life. The legendary artifact ignites with blinding, raw power. Destiny is held firmly in the palm of his hand. With a snap of his fingers, he ignites a blazing inferno. The flames roar to life, ready to consume everything in their path. He realizes his hypothesis was spot on. The internal waterways have successfully increased to 3. Each one has different properties, meaning he can now manifest 3 spells simultaneously. He's basically a walking magical arsenal now. It actually works. He can barely believe the success of his own experiment. He pauses, realizing that this wasn't his original objective. His primary goal remains the prevention of the mana explosions. 3 waterways are simply not enough to contain his volatile energy. He must cast magic more frequently to force his body to create even more pathways. He aims to minimize the burden on his vessel, ensuring he doesn't burn out before he can save himself. The air grows heavy with unspoken tension as he stands on the precipice of a life-changing secret. One wrong word could shatter everything. The raw power of the mysterious crystal surges as he grips it tight. A blinding energy crackles, marking the dawn of a game-changing moment. He stands alone, the silence amplifying the weight of his thoughts. Hans calls out, informing him that it's finally dinner time. He remains motionless, lost in the depths of his own calculations. Hans offers some wheat bread, but is once again told to get out immediately. Talk about a warm welcome. Hans tries to coax him into eating, ignoring the cold shoulder. He's clearly not giving up that easily. Hans wonders why he's being treated this way, but refuses to leave until he sees his young master take a bite. He asks Hans for his current age, and is reminded that he is only 12 years old this year. He reflects that 12 is the peak age for acting like a spoiled, petulant child. Everything freezes in an instant. A sudden, shocking realization halts the meal mid-air. He tastes the bread, a flavor that feels like a ghost from a long-lost past. A sinister shadow looms over the unsuspecting child. The mysterious stranger wears a smile that spells nothing but trouble. He notices that the nanny is nowhere to be seen today. A moment of unexpected stillness captures him mid-bite. What secrets hide behind those piercing, hollow eyes? He confirms that she returned home, his mind already piecing together the implications. A nanny abandoning her post for her own family? In this household, that would normally be a death sentence. Things are definitely moving in a strange direction. The gears in his mind are turning, and they aren't stopping for anyone. The flames roar to life, hungrily devouring the firewood in a crackling inferno. Secrets are turning to ash as the fire consumes everything in its path. A heavy silence hangs in the air as he stares into the void, his expression clouded by an unspoken, crushing burden. He contemplates the series of events about to unfold. He wonders if Hinder is the only one suffering from the mysterious pneumonia. A gentle smile masks a hidden agenda as he locks eyes with his target. Something wicked is brewing behind that calm exterior. He learns that all the children in the village have caught the same illness. The memories of the incident finally surface, clear as day. He recalls the infamous Black Goose Village mass pneumonia incident. A heavy silence hangs in the air as someone collapses in despair. Tears fall in the shadows, marking the start of a dark new chapter. He offers a word of relief to the young master, trying to keep the mood light. He vows that he won't let her experience that nightmare ever again. He finally identifies the true, sinister cause behind the village's sudden sickness. A steaming, hearty meal sits ready, waiting for the feast to begin. The stage is set for a moment of delicious respite. The tension spikes as the door clicks open. Hans turns, caught in the sudden, suspenseful silence. He asks what kind of monster was recently subjugated, sensing the impending danger. The night sky hangs heavy with ominous secrets as the crescent moon watches over the impending chaos. Dark petals drift through the chilling air, signaling that something wicked this way comes. A lone deer stands frozen in the moonlit forest, senses sharp and alert to the unseen danger lurking in the shadows. Something wicked this way comes. An eerie magical glow erupts as the mysterious creature suddenly springs to life. A massive, roaring fireball erupts in a blinding display of raw power. The beast stares on in absolute shock as destruction tears through the night. The stain of the past refuses to fade away so easily. He curses under his breath, realizing that the real battle has only just begun. If you're enjoying this recap, Smash that like button and subscribe for more. He stumbles backward, his footing unsteady as the reality of the situation begins to sink in. A massive threat looms over the Black Goose Village. The monster is far worse than he imagined. He shakes off the distraction, his focus sharpening as he prepares to face the encroaching danger. He questions the nature of the beast plaguing Black Goose Village. What could possibly be terrorizing the locals so thoroughly? An icy silence fills the room as a mysterious figure looms over the unsuspecting target. The tension is suffocating. One wrong move could be his last. He recalls the rumors from the Magic Tower, where scholars once sought the beast for its rare research materials. He catches a glimpse of the creature's true form, and the memory sends a shiver down his spine. It's a giant spider draped in silver fur. If the reports are true, there is no mistaking what they are dealing with. It is a winter spider, a nightmare brought to life. A cryptic mess of noise and static fills the air, leaving him baffled by the sheer chaos of the environment. While individual winter spiders aren't the strongest, their rapid reproduction rate turns them into a swarming, unstoppable tide. The real danger isn't their fangs. It's the toxic, high-density mana they radiate. Exposure to this mana causes a suffocating poisoning that mimics the symptoms of pneumonia, slowly draining the life from its victims. The truth is out. The village is suffering from a magical plague, not a seasonal illness. The children of Black Goose Village are fading away, poisoned by the very air these monsters exhale. With a sudden, violent swish, the herbs are snatched up. The mission is officially underway. He clutches the medicinal herbs tightly, hoping they will be enough to alleviate the children's suffering for now. He knows this is merely a bandage on a gaping wound. The root cause must be ripped out. To save the village, the entire nest of winter spiders must be exterminated, root and branch. His father is tied down at the border fortresses, leaving him to handle this crisis alone. His mother is busy traversing the continent, searching for a cure for his own unique, fragile constitution. Talk about a family that's never around when you actually need them. He can't wait for reinforcements. If he hesitates, the boy named Hinder will lose his life. Under the glow of a pale moon, a quiet village hides its secrets in the dead of night. But behind those flickering windows, the stage is set for a storm. An ominous silence hangs over the isolated cabin as night falls. Something wicked is lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Honestly, who goes to a spooky village at night without a map? This guy is asking for trouble. A sudden, sharp knock shatters the silence. She freezes in her tracks, every nerve ending on high alert. She calls out into the darkness, her voice trembling as she demands to know who is intruding. Terror strikes as she finds herself gagged and cornered. Her eyes widen in pure, unadulterated shock. The young master appears, staring at the nanny with a gaze that is far too intense for his age. She demands to know why he's here and what happened at the mansion to make him look so disheveled. She gasps, noting that he is absolutely covered in filth and dirt. Piercing blue eyes lock onto the target with chilling intensity. The silence is deafening as they prepare to make their next move. He explains he came to check on her since she hadn't come to work, though she desperately tries to keep him out. She pleads with him not to enter, terrified that he might contract the mysterious pneumonia plaguing the house. He brushes off her concerns, holding out the bundle of herbs with a firm command. He cuts her off, insisting she take the medicine immediately. She stares at the mysterious bundle, utterly confused by his sudden appearance and demands. He instructs her on how to grind and brew the herbs, his tone brooking no argument. Our hero is out here playing doctor, pharmacist, and exterminator all in one day. A heavy silence hangs in the air as the mysterious traveler stands over the bedridden figure. One final look before the journey begins. He spots the bluish spots on the skin, the telltale sign of mana poisoning. He calls out to Hinder, hoping to find a spark of consciousness left in the boy. The world blurs as his heavy lids finally give way. Exhaustion hits like a freight train. Hinder weakly begs the young master not to fire his mother, fearing for their livelihood. He explains that his mother couldn't work because she was stuck caring for him in his sickbed. He assures the boy that he has no intention of letting her go. He acknowledges that the nanny is the only one who has been taking care of him, even with the meager resources they have. He arrives at the abandoned mine, a dark, foreboding entrance to the monster's lair. He confirms the location, noting the oppressive darkness of the limestone cave. He dismisses his guide, ready to face the danger solo. The local warns him of the disappearances, but he barely listens, already focused on the hunt. He recalls that winter spiders favor limestone, making this cave the perfect nesting ground. He pauses at the threshold, taking a moment to gather his resolve. He begins his final preparations before diving into the abyss. Thanks to his new multi-circuit technique, he can manifest 3 spells at once, rivaling second-class magic. He knows the risks. If he pushes too hard, his own body might shatter from the strain. He can't afford to be reckless. He doesn't know the size of the swarm waiting inside. He pulls out his secret weapon, a necessary component for his survival. It's the frost belladonna, a plant as lethal as it is beautiful. It's typically used for paralysis, but for winter spiders it acts as a potent, deadly toxin. He muses on the irony of the spiders living right next to their own lethal poison. He handles the berries with extreme care, knowing one mistake could be his undoing. He lets out a heavy breath, his heart pounding in anticipation of the slaughter. He regrets not bringing gloves, as the potency of the plant begins to irritate his skin. With his preparation complete, he readies his runestones and steps into the darkness. A mysterious light pierces the darkness, beckoning our lone traveler toward the unknown. His journey takes a sudden, blinding turn. Heavy footsteps echo through the darkness as he marches into the monster's den. There's no turning back now. A mysterious light flares from the darkness, catching our hero off guard in the deep cavern. What hidden treasure or deadly threat lies waiting in the glow? He mutters to himself that dying in such a damp, dark hole would be a pathetic end to his journey. He spots the path downward, but the terrain is treacherous and difficult to navigate. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The rickety ladder sways precariously over the abyss. One wrong move and it's a long way down. Cold sweat beads down his face as he faces an unexpected predicament. Something has left him completely speechless. With a death-defying grip, they seize the rope to execute their desperate move. The tension is palpable as the final countdown begins. The adventurer scales the treacherous cliffside, pushing toward the blinding light of discovery. One wrong step means doom, but there's no turning back now. A flicker of movement catches his eye, turning his focus to the horror below. The color drains from his face as a chilling realization hits home. He's staring straight into the jaws of a nightmare. He realizes with grim satisfaction that he has found exactly what he was looking for. The ground is littered with mummified corpses, their bodies drained of all vitality. He spots a human collarbone amidst the wreckage, the remains of a victim who didn't make it. Amidst a graveyard of ancient bones, he uncovers a chilling secret hidden in plain sight. What dark truth lies waiting for him in the shadows? He wonders if this was one of the missing people the hunter mentioned. The evidence is damning. A lethal blade strikes with blinding speed. Our hero's eyes widen in sheer terror as danger closes in. A blinding light erupts from the cave wall, signaling a hidden treasure. Our hero strikes gold amidst the scattered bones of the fallen. Man, he really knows how to make an entrance. Explosions are definitely his signature move. The monstrous beast unleashes a devastating blast of pure destruction. Nowhere is safe from its scorching fury. He realizes their fear of fire is their greatest weakness, providing him with a temporary shield. He lets out a sharp gasp as the heat of his own magic threatens to overwhelm him. He knows the swarm is coming, and he needs to be ready for the onslaught. The tension skyrockets as a gloved hand pulls him into a desperate, intimate embrace. Secrets are whispered in the silence of this heart-stopping moment. A sudden rustle breaks the silence as something stirs the shadows. The hunt is on. He drops to his knees, bracing for the overwhelming surge of power. The silence of the cave shatters as he prepares to break his limits. With a sharp, calculating gaze, he reaches out to claim the mysterious herb. The prize is finally within his grasp. The precious herbs erupt into a sudden, violent blaze. Everything is going up in smoke. A lethal blade strikes with overwhelming force. The target is caught off guard as the crushing impact seals their fate. The terrifying creature recoils in pure shock. Its glowing eyes widen as it realizes it's completely outmatched. He readies his final move, his eyes blazing with cold resolve. He whispers the command. The hunt has officially begun. Sunlight pierces the shadows to reveal the secrets hidden within these dusty shelves. The truth is waiting, tucked away in the silence. Buried under mountains of paperwork, he works tirelessly against the ticking clock. The weight of his destiny rests on the stroke of his pen. He screams in frustration, demanding to know how things spiraled so far out of control. The weight of a heavy secret shadows his gaze as he stares into the unknown. Silence hangs in the air, thick with unspoken longing. He warns them to watch their tongues. They are in the presence of His Excellency, and he won't tolerate disrespect. He confronts the master of the fief, demanding to know why the people were left unprotected. He screams at them to answer why Black Goose Village was abandoned to rot. He sighs, annoyed by the constant bickering around him. He considers boarding up the windows just to get some peace and quiet. Maybe moving to the basement is the only way to avoid these loudmouthed idiots. In the basement, he can finally focus on researching the unique constitution without being interrupted. He plans to reinforce the walls with dimeritium to shield himself from any accidental mana explosions. He turns to Hans, asking for his opinion on the new living arrangements. A chilling presence looms over the room, shattering the silence with a single, haunting name. The tension is suffocating. A chilling realization strikes, freezing him in his tracks. His eyes widen as the dark truth finally comes to light. He pauses, suddenly remembering the truth about Hans's identity. Buried under a mountain of paperwork, he works tirelessly as the scratching of his quill echoes through the silence. The master of the study shows no signs of stopping until every last document is conquered. He mumbles something under his breath, his concentration momentarily broken. The silence is shattered by the rhythmic scratching of a pen as he pens his next masterstroke. Nothing escapes his cold, calculating gaze. The scalpel glides across the page with lethal precision. A dark contract is being forged in the shadows. A chilling realization freezes him in his tracks. His eyes widen as he senses something lurking in the shadows. Lost in the shadows, our protagonist buries himself in a mountain of secrets. The weight of destiny rests solely on his ink-stained quill. A mysterious, ethereal energy slices through the darkness with lethal precision. Whatever is lurking in these shadows has just been put on high alert. Deep in the eerie silence of the dungeon, he kneels before the mystical flames, crafting something dangerous. The stage is set, the ingredients are burning, and the true test begins now. He complains about the annoying memory resurfacing at the worst possible time. He focuses back on the winter spiders, the source of all his current headaches. It seems the frost belladonna worked exactly as intended. He explains that you can't feed the poison directly, but burning it creates a paralytic smoke that does the job perfectly. He mentions he had to wrap a wet handkerchief around his face to keep from succumbing to the fumes himself. He used his own mana to purify the air, a risky move that nearly drained him. At the same time, he kept a fireball ready, condensed and waiting to strike at a moment's notice. Combining purification, fire magic, and phase shifting. This is his secret to staying alive. He calls it multi-circuit, the technique that allowed him to outlast the spiders. He bids the dying monsters a cold, final farewell. A blinding blast of pure destruction tears through the battlefield. Nothing can survive this cataclysmic strike. The world erupts into a blazing inferno, but he walks through the flames without a single look back. Nothing can stop our hero as he pushes forward through the heart of the fire. A chilling gaze pierces through the shadows as he readies himself for the fight. The mask hides his face, but those electric blue eyes reveal a lethal intent. He notices all the surviving spiders fleeing toward a single, common location. He realizes there must be a water source nearby, drawing them in. He strides through the inferno with absolute focus. The heat doesn't stand a chance against his relentless advance. A colossal explosion engulfs the battlefield, tearing through everything in its path. The absolute devastation leaves nothing but fire and ruin in its wake. The fire is great and all, but he's starting to realize he might pass out from the smoke himself. He needs to finish this fight before he suffocates in his own creation. Alone in the suffocating darkness, he ventures deeper into the cavern's icy silence. Every dripping echo signals that he's no longer just exploring. He's being watched. He notes the sudden, unnatural drop in temperature. It's cold enough to form ice, which is definitely not a good sign for his lungs. Something lies just ahead, and it's clearly not happy about the company. The hero stares in disbelief at the cluster of mysterious objects. Could these really be eggs? If these monsters laid this many, he's definitely in over his head. A colossal blade of pure magical energy descends, shattering the silence. Our hero stands frozen in absolute, heart-stopping terror. The cave walls tremble with a deafening rhythm as something massive approaches. Our hero stands frozen, paralyzed by the approaching terror. The silence shatters as his heart pounds with adrenaline. Danger is lurking, and he's ready to face it head-on. The lone explorer steps into the heart of the lair, unaware of the pulsating nightmares lurking just above his head. One wrong move in this frozen cavern could spell a gruesome end. With a flicker of his palm, he ignites a blazing flame to pierce the darkness. The hunt is on. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashes a searing fireball into the darkness. The cave erupts in flames as he marks his territory. A blazing orb of pure destruction tears through the darkness. The air itself screams as the lethal projectile rockets toward its target. The ice shatters beneath his feet, and danger is closing in fast. Our hero freezes, caught in a heart-pounding moment of pure adrenaline. Cold sweat trickles down as a sudden, shocking realization freezes him in his tracks. The tension is absolutely palpable. The shadows come alive as a monstrous predator lunges from the darkness with lethal intent. Its glowing eyes lock onto the prey, signaling an immediate and terrifying strike. With a shovel strapped to his back, he steps into the frozen, glowing unknown. The silent chill of the dungeon is about to be shattered. A sudden realization sends shockwaves through his soul. Everything is about to change in a heartbeat. The predator lunges with lethal precision. Our hero barely evades the crushing blow in a desperate dash for survival. The hero curses the situation. Talk about a bad time to run into trouble. He grits his teeth, realizing his grim premonitions are coming to life right before his eyes. It's a winter spider queen, and it is definitely not here to make friends. Unlike its smaller kin, this beast is fire-resistant and radiates a bone-chilling frost. It is the apex predator of the region, the true reason for its terrifying moniker. A lethal blade strikes with terrifying speed, catching our hero completely off guard. Danger looms as he narrowly evades a crushing blow. With a lightning-fast strike, he unleashes a blazing assault that leaves his enemies in the dust. The battlefield ignites as he maneuvers through the chaos with lethal precision. A brutal, fiery strike lands with devastating force. The armor shatters as the impact sends shockwaves through the battlefield. He realizes his fireballs aren't enough. This queen is built different. He prays that at least the creature is slow, because his stamina is absolutely tanking. He lets out a frustrated sigh. This is going to be a long fight. His 12-year-old body is screaming in protest after a sleepless night of non-stop magic usage. The ground trembles as a colossal predator looms from the shadows. Our hero stands paralyzed in the face of pure, overwhelming terror. The tension is suffocating as he lets out a shaky breath. With sweat beading on his skin, the pressure of the moment is reaching a breaking point. A sudden thought distracts him amidst the chaos. Freshly baked bread hits the cutting board in a shower of golden sparkles. The perfect, crusty snack is ready to be served. She went to great lengths to bring high-quality wheat just for his picky palate. A cold, calculated smirk spreads across the monster's face. The predator thinks it has finally cornered its prey. He mentally notes to ask for plenty of bread the moment he escapes this nightmare. He reminds himself that no matter how regal, it's just a giant spider at the end of the day. The ice shatters into a million pieces as our hero charges forward. With shovel in hand, he refuses to back down from the overwhelming power before him. With eyes locked on his target, he raises his blade for a lethal strike. There's no turning back now. The slaughter begins. The hero lunges forward, driving his weapon into the frozen beast with bone-shattering force. Sparks fly as he tears through the monster's icy defenses in a single lethal strike. He lets out a grunt of pure exertion. With a savage swing, he brings the shovel down to crush his armored foe. One strike is all it takes to shatter the silence. With a fierce battle cry, he unleashes a powerful, high-speed strike. There's no escaping the raw intensity of this lethal blow. A massive blade crashes down with lethal intent. He barely narrowly dodges the crushing blow. A hand lunges forward to snatch the glowing blade from the air. The tension reaches a breaking point as the weapon is seized. The beast crashes down with devastating force, shattering the ground beneath its monstrous weight. There's no escaping this earth-shaking strike. He grits his teeth, forcing himself to hold on despite the exhaustion. He lacks the accuracy for ranged shots and the mana for consecutive fireballs. His only choice is to get close and personal. He abandons long-range tactics, deciding to end this with a single, decisive move. He begins to condense his mana, molding it into a more concentrated form. He compresses it once more, forcing the energy to its absolute limit. The moment of truth has arrived. He screams for the beast to die, unleashing his final trump card. The frozen beast surges with raw, icy power. Its crystalline core ignites, signaling a devastating attack is imminent. Eyes blazing with icy fury, he surges forward to deliver a crushing blow. The battle reaches a breaking point as his raw power explodes. He lets out a desperate, guttural cry as the clash reaches its peak. He struggles to pull his arm free, but his body is trembling violently from the strain. Pure, crackling mana surges as he reaches out to seize his destiny. The air shatters under the weight of his overwhelming power. With a final, desperate heave, he breaks free. A ruthless strike shatters the beast's skull, engulfing it in a hellish inferno of blue flames. The monster falls in a brutal display of overwhelming power. A brutal blow leaves him broken and bleeding on the frozen floor. Is this truly the end for our hero? A devastating blue flame erupts, leaving our hero broken and defenseless in the dust. The onslaught is relentless, and he's running out of time. A sharp blade strikes the ground with blinding speed, shattering the stillness. The icy power erupts in a flash of blue energy. A powerful, frozen artifact erupts with an intense surge of mystical blue flames. The raw energy crackles, signaling a world-shattering awakening. The nanny whispers in a panic, "Did anyone find out the young master left the estate?" He recognizes that voice instantly. It's his nanny. He wonders how he could possibly explain this without causing a massive scandal. She frets over his disappearance, unaware that he ventured into the abandoned mine. He realizes his cover-up story needs to be airtight to avoid suspicion. He recalls how he hit his head after the victory and lost consciousness. Fortunately, he managed to crawl his way back to the village just in time. He met Hans at the entrance, his secret safe for the moment. He then promptly collapsed, exhausted from the harrowing ordeal. The mission was a success, and Hinder was cured thanks to his quick thinking. He realizes that even though he's changed, his heart remains as kind as ever. He calls out to Hans, relieved to see a familiar face. Hans is shocked and relieved to see the young master finally opening his eyes. He learns he's been out for half a day, but insists he's feeling just fine. Hans is clearly not buying the "I'm fine" act. He spins a web of lies about slipping down a slope while gathering herbs. He knows that if he admits to killing a monster at 12, everyone will think he's gone insane. He shifts the focus to Hinder's recovery to keep the heat off himself. He makes a mental note to keep the mana poisoning secret buried deep. If the higher-ups get involved, there will be nothing but headaches and unwanted scholars. He shrugs off the nanny's questions about the herbs, claiming he just read about them in a book. He insists on heading back, despite the worsening snow outside. He worries that his absence from the estate might cause trouble for everyone involved. The villagers insist he take a gift as a token of their gratitude. He accepts the offering, realizing the impact his actions had on the village. With a piercing gaze, he reveals the mysterious glowing fruit. What secrets does this forbidden prize hold? He tells his nanny to take a well-deserved break until Hinder is fully recovered. She worries the head chamberlain will never approve of such a thing. He assures her that she's going to be doing something much more important than just resting. He tasks her with turning the fruit into a special jam. He demands it be served with wheat bread upon his return, the ultimate snack. The color drains from her face as a sudden, earth-shattering realization hits home. Her world stops in its tracks, paralyzed by the weight of an unexpected truth. Tears well up in those eyes as raw, overwhelming emotion threatens to break through. She's on the absolute edge of shattering. With a chilling grin and a crisp apple in hand, he stares you down with dangerous intent. That innocent smile hides a storm brewing beneath the surface. She agrees, clearly overwhelmed by his sudden change in demeanor. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Gasping for air, he pushes past his limits in a desperate, adrenaline-fueled sprint. There's no turning back now. The race against time has begun. A week of intense recovery passes. During this time, he focuses on his growth. His mana vessel stabilizes, allowing him to cast 4 spells simultaneously. A massive leap forward. His daily training has paid off in ways he never imagined. He understands that magic requires calculation and mental fortitude, which is anchored by physical stamina. He realizes his limit in the mine was purely physical. A child's body is a heavy burden. He reflects on his past life and the lessons learned. The tension hits a breaking point as the two lock eyes, wooden training swords drawn and ready for a brutal clash. No more holding back. The real sparring match begins now. Lucas has been instrumental in whipping his stamina into shape. A chilling, wicked grin spreads across his face as the trap is set. He's hiding something lethal behind that innocent smile. A cold, silent fury radiates from him as he clenches his fist in pure, brewing rage. The storm is about to break. The young master is interrupted by a routine checkup. It's time for him to play the role of the frail child once again. Head Chamberlain Schiller arrives, accompanied by the physician. The doctor greets him with a professional yet cold demeanor. He's the most renowned doctor in the territory, but even he is clueless about the true nature of his patient. The doctor notes that, strangely enough, his body seems to be getting healthier. He tries to adjust the medication, unaware that he's jumping to conclusions. The hero watches with a guarded expression. The doctor presents a potion known as panacea. He notes the irony, a panacea for some, but a potential trap for him. He acknowledges that his father truly tried his best to provide for him. He knows the true nature of the drug. It's being misused as a stimulant by commoners. It's touted to stabilize mana, but he knows better. It's a common mistranslation, but he knows its true, stimulating effects. For someone with his unstable mana, this isn't a cure. It's practically poison. Yet, if used carefully, he can turn this poison into a tool to expand his own mana circuits. The doctor takes his leave, unaware he's been outplayed. The tension spikes as an intense, unblinking stare locks onto our protagonist. What could this mysterious figure possibly want? The physician notes that he's been acting unusually well-behaved. He asks if the young master has finally stopped throwing tantrums. The hero wonders if he should have put on a show to keep the doctor guessing. A cold, Calculating gaze pierces through his spectacles. Something wicked is definitely brewing behind those eyes. The air turns frigid as a chilling realization hits, leaving him speechless. A storm of unspoken tension is about to break. The doctor drops the bombshell. He knows about the cure in Black Goose Village. He confirms he heard it all from Hans. He realizes Hans must have been interrogated. The doctor decides to overlook his insubordination, but only this once. He warns the young master to show some restraint in the future. He realizes he's never been able to get close to the stoic Schiller. The Chamberlain has always been a cold, distant figure of authority. Schiller demands that he stop acting on his own. At the very least, he insists on being consulted first. He remembers Jonas's words about the man before his death. Schiller served the Goethes with unwavering loyalty. He remained loyal even after their fall, serving until his final breath. He offers a polite thank you, finally seeing the man behind the mask. The distinguished butler stares with an icy, unreadable gaze. Behind that polite facade lies a man who knows exactly how the game is played. Schiller asks about his daily runs, sensing there's a secret hidden behind the sweat. The chapter begins with a not-so-subtle reminder of where to find the source material. A chilling realization dawns as his eyes widen in pure shock. Whatever he just discovered changes everything. The situation remains shrouded in mystery, with illegible chaos filling the panel. News arrives that the eldest young master has successfully cured the children of Black Goose Village. A somber prognosis follows. The boy's future as a combat mage is bleak, but his potential as an alchemist is bright. With the medical crisis averted, the Excellency can finally breathe a sigh of relief. A sharp, authoritative voice calls out for someone to enter. A timid figure steps forward, trembling with nervous energy. The head chamberlain scowls as he recognizes the familiar face of the maid. "You again." She tries to protest, but the stern look from the superior cuts her off. She desperately reports that maids are vanishing, mentioning Annette's 3 years of tireless service. She insists on the truth of her claims. Fear grips her as she cries out, terrified of the fate that has befallen her friends. Tension hangs heavy in the damp, claustrophobic silence of the underground sewer. Our heroes stand at the edge of the abyss, bracing for whatever lurks in the shadows ahead. Trapped and desperate, he grips the iron bars with bone-crushing intensity. His silent fury is about to shatter everything. He curses his luck, wondering how he ended up in such a miserable predicament. He explains their plan to flee the mansion, desperately begging for Beryl's assistance. He claims it was easy to locate the broker, citing his status as an exiled noble as his motive for heading south. But his story hits a snag. A mysterious figure emerges, draped in an impeccably sharp cloak that screams elite status. Their arrival is nothing short of dazzling. With a gaze as sharp as ice, he commands the room with effortless, sparkling perfection. All eyes are locked on this stunning prodigy. He muses that the young master's kidnapping makes sense, given his delicate, pretty features. But then he wonders why on earth did they drag him along too. His attention shifts back to the young master, who is acting rather strangely. The bandits treated the brat like royalty, while he was stripped down to his underwear. Talk about a double standard. He demands to know the plan, growing increasingly frustrated with his companion's silent tinkering. He yells at the boy to stop playing with that stone and start talking. "Seriously, buddy, read the room." The young master snaps back, reminding him that they're about to die and manners are currently at the bottom of his priority list. He vows to find the missing maids, leaving his companion to question his sanity. He dryly points out that unless the boy can melt iron with his bare hands, they're going nowhere. With a piercing gaze and an outstretched hand, he unleashes his chilling power. The trap is set, and there's nowhere left to run. Cold realization hits hard as his eyes widen in utter shock. Whatever he just witnessed has completely shattered his composure. Caught in the depths, the duo stands paralyzed as a sinister trap lies waiting beneath their feet. One wrong step and it's game over. Another reminder pops up. You know where to find the goods. The companion stammers, looking at the young master with newfound hesitation. The young master stares back blankly, acting as if he's never seen the man before. The maze-like corridors echo with strange noises, prompting a warning about lurking bandits. The young master brushes off the danger with supreme confidence, leaving his terrified companion behind. He shouts after him, desperation creeping into his voice. He breaks down, begging for his life, willing to do absolutely anything to survive. The young master stops, looking at Bill with a cold, knowing expression. He remarks that he's seen this exact pathetic display before. Bill continues his groveling, pleading for a shred of mercy. Bound and broken in the freezing snow, he lets out a desperate, soul-shattering scream. The end is finally closing in. He admits his past mistakes, claiming he was out of his mind to betray such a gracious master. The young master recounts the history, how Bill once sold out his own organization just to save his skin. But this time he betrayed the house of Gerda. That is a bridge too far. Trust is officially off the table. Bill begs for one last chance, but the young master has heard enough. He scolds Bill for his greed, questioning if he really thought selling secret manuals was a minor offense. The executioner looms over his broken captive, his blood-stained blade sealing a grim fate in the frozen night. Mercy has no place here, only cold, calculated vengeance. He notes that had Bill been less greedy, he might have actually been useful. The memory of that day remains etched in his mind with painful clarity. Bill's background as a bandit made him the perfect tool to track the maids, a task he definitely lied about earlier. A quick promotional break for the site. In a twist of fate, the syndicate from his past life is exactly the same group that snatched the maids now. These human traffickers have spread through the territory like a plague, and it's time to cut them out. The tension is palpable as he locks eyes with his opponent in a moment of pure, breathless vulnerability. He's pushed to his absolute limit, and there's no turning back now. He reminds Bill of his promise to do anything to survive. Another link for the road. The tension spikes as the mysterious trio stands before him, their eyes hidden in the shadows. A silent showdown is about to explode. A voice calls out to the father, noting his refusal to eat. He devours the succulent piece of meat with ravenous intensity. There's no time to waste when a feast this good is on the line. She pleads with him to take care of himself, worried about his declining health. He ignores her, sensing a presence nearby. He whispers a promise. Once the black magic succeeds, they will be reunited. Silence follows his words, with no response from the void. He questions if the soul's power is fading. He demands to know about the offerings, only to be told they're out of everything but the trade goods. A sudden shock ripples through the room. He lets out a violent cough, his body racked with pain. He eyes the nearby captives, deciding one of them will make a perfect sacrifice. He orders the preparation of the offering immediately, his voice cold and commanding. One of the lackeys vents his frustration. Black magic is clearly just a scam. He complains about the constant supply of food and bathwater, suggesting they just sell the merchandise instead. He warns that they're all going to die if they keep this up, urging his partner to just finish the job. Don't forget to check the chapter link. A strange sound stops them in their tracks. The tension mounts as they wonder what just happened. They look toward the darkness, wondering if the boss has arrived. A mysterious figure steps out from the shadows. They stutter in fear, recognizing the silhouette. He greets them with a chillingly casual tone. He asks for water, acting as if he's just taking a stroll. They stare in disbelief, unable to process the arrival. "Bill?" they gasp, shocked to see him alive. He repeats his demand for water, his voice dripping with menace. They tremble, still struggling to comprehend the situation. He stares them down, unbothered by their terror. "Bill?" they repeat, his presence shaking their very foundations. He curses the day he got involved in this mess, muttering about the damn brat. It all comes back to the young master's schemes. He repeats the ultimatum. "You said you'd do anything, right?" He presents the first task, and the victim stares in confusion. It's a contract, the ultimate insurance policy. The terms are simple. Bill must obey Isaac unconditionally. He continues reading the fine print, which strictly forbids leaking any information. The third term is the kicker. Violate the contract and you die. He demands a blood signature, producing a blade to seal the deal. The victim stares at the knife, horrified by the prospect. He pressures them, noting that time is running out. "Don't you want to live?" he asks, his voice cold and persuasive. A moment of hesitation hangs in the air. The decision is made. He reluctantly agrees to the terms. The enemies rush in, demanding to know how he escaped. The confrontation begins as the group charges forward. A blur of motion sweeps across the scene. They check the fallen bodies. Are they dead or just unconscious? They are baffled by the efficiency of the takedown. Magic! They realize, finally seeing the power in action. The air cracks with a resounding boom. It's their first time witnessing ice magic, a truly rare and remarkable sight. One suggests it's impractical, but the other finds it rather convenient. It's not as simple as it looks on the surface. The alarm is raised. The bandits have arrived. He quizzes Bill on the fundamentals of ice creation, much to Bill's confusion. He asks for a guess, and Bill awkwardly settles on water. He confirms the answer. It's all about molding the moisture in the air. He breaks down the four-stage process: compression, condensation, expansion, and evaporation. It's not difficult in theory, but doing all of it in seconds. That's a master-level feat. He senses someone watching and turns, eyes narrowing. The bandits roar, demanding to know who dared to interfere. He prepares the final step. Phase shift magic activates. He explains why this is rarely used in combat. It's just too tedious. He wouldn't even bother if he didn't have his special item. The Frost Mana Stone, harvested from a legendary winter spider queen. It's a treasure of massive academic and monetary value. A nice little bonus for a day's work. He explains the benefit. Because so few people know it, it's the perfect tool for stealth. Wounds caused by this magic look like blunt trauma, and the evidence melts away into nothingness. It is, quite literally, the perfect crime. He decides to leave the grunts alive. They're just replaceable cannon fodder anyway. He knows they'll repeat their crimes, but that's exactly why he's letting them go. A quick reminder to support the scanlation team. He shifts his focus to the single biggest threat in the room. The leader of the bandits steps forward, his presence suffocating. The assistant panics, warning that this man is a lunatic who tears people apart with his bare hands. The young master smiles. That just saves him the effort of tracking the guy down. His eyes pop. The bandit actually deflected the attack with his bare hand. The young master remains calm, even complimenting the brute's strength. The assistant is losing his mind. Is this really the time for small talk? The bandit leader addresses the group, his gaze fixed on them. He eyes the merchandise, deciding the young master will make a perfect ingredient for his dark arts. He's delighted to find a mage in the mix, the ultimate prize. The assistant screams for mercy, desperately trying to distance himself. He insists he's just a completely ordinary human. Please don't eat him. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The young master looks at the ice he conjured earlier, which the bandit just brushed aside like it was nothing. Bill stands tall as the new boss, finally taking command of the underworld. He delivers a heavy ultimatum, forcing the weight of responsibility onto his subordinates. He stares them down, demanding they understand the gravity of their new duties. He reminds them that life often forces people into corners they never wanted to enter. It is an unavoidable reality that everyone faces at least once. Life hits hard and leaves scars you can't just erase with a simple apology. He warns them that their choices will follow them like a permanent brand for the rest of their lives. Now, there are only two paths left to take. You can either crumble and suffocate under the crushing weight of your own guilt, or you can grit your teeth and struggle to survive for the sake of those you've lost. Annette recalls the crushing guilt of losing Clara and realizes the wisdom hidden in those painful words. Meanwhile, some thugs are still acting like entitled brats, demanding water while locked up. They are literally just yapping away, completely oblivious to their situation. Annette makes a silent vow. In this life, she will not let her friends meet such a tragic end. Determination is high, and the stakes are even higher. Rumors spread that the southern nobles are desperate, scouring other cities for wives. The gossip mill claims southern women aren't exactly easy on the eyes, so they're importing beauties instead. Talk about a harsh review. Maybe the grass is greener in the south after all? Whispers circulate about a man who can smuggle anyone south for the right price. Friends invite Hilda and Annette to join their escape, offering a way out of their misery. Hilda declines, showing her loyalty by choosing to stay and care for her father. That was the last time anyone saw them. They simply vanished without a trace. Bill connects the dots. Annette was kidnapped precisely because she was hunting for her missing friends. She reveals the nightmare she found in the sewers. Hilda and Clara had completely lost their grip on reality. The trauma was so intense that staying a few more days would have broken her mind, too. The sewers are a dark, twisted marketplace where human lives are traded or destroyed. Even at 70 years old, the veteran is shaken by the sheer cruelty those young girls endured. She admits she could have broken free at any moment. The iron gate holding her captive was already broken, just waiting to be pushed. She breaks down into uncontrollable sobs, the memory still too painful to bear. She wonders if staying just a little longer would have changed the outcome. She cries out, agonizing over the decision to leave Clara behind in that hellhole. She realizes the horrific truth. If she had stayed, she might have been forced to kill her own friend. The listener offers his sympathy. Digging up these buried memories is a heavy burden to carry. A new, suspicious thought begins to plague his mind. He questions the bizarre turn of events when the thugs suddenly let them go. Annette recalls Clara's chilling words, "If I return to the estate, I will die." It wasn't just fear of punishment. She knew her life was forfeit the moment she stepped back home. The pieces of the puzzle are finally clicking into place for him. Things are getting serious, and the truth is much darker than expected. She believes the thugs let them go because of the young master's influence. He scoffs at the idea, but realizes she's far more perceptive than she looks. To these maids, he's the only person who has ever shown them a shred of genuine concern. Our hero is just out here being a decent human being, and it's throwing everyone off. He calls out to Annette, ready to address the elephant in the room. She offers a sincere, heartfelt thank you. He hesitates, deciding to hold off on the conversation for now, and takes his leave. The tension lingers in the air as he walks away. He stares off into the distance, deep in contemplation. A new discovery is about to change everything. Gossip travels fast. The word is out that young Master Isaac took the maids back in despite a massive fight with the butler. Everyone is whispering about his motives, assuming he's just a boy hit by puppy love. Bill snaps, tired of being called boss, as he tries to keep his unruly new gang in line. He realizes that killing one criminal gang is useless when the city breeds them like weeds. Instead of fighting them, he decides to seize control and manage the chaos himself. It was a trap from the start. He's been maneuvered into a contract he can't escape. If anything goes wrong now, he's the one whose head will roll first. He interrogates his prisoner. Was he the only one sent to spy on the estate? It seems Nears wasn't just a lunatic. He was calculating enough to infiltrate noble houses. The thug drops another bombshell. There's always an offering to be made. An offering? What kind of twisted tribute is required in this underworld? It turns out they have to pay off the knights every single year. The only reason their criminal den hasn't been wiped out is that the law is on their payroll. The realization hits hard. The very people meant to protect the city are the ones enabling the scum. A few days later, the situation escalates rapidly. The action is picking up, and the combat is getting intense. He identifies the trick. The fire is nothing but a distraction. The real threat is the lethal ice crystal closing in behind the flames. Victory has its perks. Taking down Nears has bumped his magic circuits from 4 to 5. He chalks it up to a bit of luck, but we all know it was pure skill. Nears made the fatal mistake of underestimating his opponent, and it cost him his life. The power gap is narrowing, and our hero is getting stronger by the second. He doesn't need handouts. He's out here seizing his own destiny. Before Jonas met his end, he spilled the secrets regarding the enemies targeting the House of Gerda. These assassins were specifically trained to hunt down and execute mages. He knows the truth now. He has to grow stronger to keep his home safe. Suddenly, a panicked voice breaks his concentration. It's morning, and his attendant is rushing him to wake up. Hans is already standing by with his clothes, looking more frazzled than usual. He's confused by the sudden urgency, but the look on Hans's face says it all. The master of the house has finally returned. His eyes widen. The patriarch is back, and everything is about to change.